हाय एवरीवन। तो दिस इज ड्यू सेम्फो का माइक्रो 2 का थर्ड वीडियो जिसमें हम आज पढ़ने वाले हैं प्राइस डिस्क्रिमिनेशन। याद दिला दूं कि हम ड्यू के जो प्रिस्क्राइब्ड रीडिंग है विच इज एएमजी, इसका ही चैप्टर 11 हम फॉलो कर रहे हैं। ओके, सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विथ टुडेज क्लास. Standard monopoly models assume a firm charges a unique uniform price to all customers, right? So in the previous videos we have seen कि profit maximization से हमें क्या मिलता था, एक monopoly price मिलता था, right? तो अभी तक हमने assume किया था कि the monopolist will charge a unique uniform price to all customers, right? But monopoly may price discrimination is possible. Price discrimination, as the word suggests, is charging different people different prices. Okay, और ये क्यों करेगा monopolist? So see, firms with market power can increase profits by capturing the surplus of customers who have a higher willingness to pay than the monopoly price, and by attracting customers whose willingness to pay is below the monopoly price but above the marginal cost. Right? तो जिसके पास ज्यादा willingness to pay होगा उसको ज्यादा price the monopolist will charge, right? And जिसका willingness to pay is below the monopoly price, the monopolist will charge a lower price as long as he is still above the marginal cost. Okay, तो यहाँ पे lower होगा. Okay, so this is called price discrimination, right? So price discrimination involves charging different prices based on consumer types, quantities purchased or locations. Okay, so price discrimination यहाँ पे तीन types के होते हैं. Okay, the first type is the first degree price discrimination, second one is the second degree price discrimination, and third one is obviously the third degree price discrimination. Okay, and we will talk about each of these types in detail. Okay, so now let's talk about the first degree price discrimination. This is also called a perfect price discrimination, right? तो ये भूलिएगा मत, it is either first degree or perfect price discrimination. Now, in this scenario, the monopolist has perfect information and charges every consumer a personalized price exactly equal to their maximum willingness to pay. Right? तो अगर मेरे पास मेरा willingness to pay है 50 rupees and आपका willingness to pay is 500 rupees, the monopolist will charge me 50 and the monopolist will charge you 500. Okay? तो जो भी consumer का willingness to pay होगा वो charge करेगा. Okay? So इससे क्या होगा? Consumer surplus will become zero, right? Because मेरा willingness to pay suppose 50 in general, अगर मेरा willingness to pay is 50 but the price is say 10 rupees. Okay? तो मेरा consumer surplus will be 40 rupees, right? That is my consumer surplus. But यहाँ पे since the price is the maximum willingness to pay, consumer surplus will be zero. So the monopolist is taking away all the consumer surplus. Okay. So yeah. So welfare outcome: the firm extracts all consumer surplus, turning it into profit. Efficiency: because the firm continues to sell units as long as the willingness to pay is at or above marginal cost, the total output produced is identical to the output in a perfectly competitive market. Okay, so total output is going to be identical. Mathematical result: for a linear demand curve, if we have PQ is equal to A minus BQ and constant marginal cost, which is MC is equal to C. Okay, so the firm will produce QFD, which is A minus C by B. Profits are represented by the area of a triangle below the demand curve and above the MC line. तो देखते हैं कि diagram कैसा है. Yeah, right? And this is for a linear demand curve. Okay, so this diagram shows a downward sloping demand curve and a horizontal MC line. The profit under first degree price discrimination is the entire shaded triangle. This entire triangle is the profit. Okay, bound by the vertical axis, the demand curve and the MC line terminating at a point where D is equal to MC. Okay, so now we move to an exercise. Okay, to understand first degree price discrimination better, let's solve this question from the back questions. Okay, question number 2. Consider a cooperative of wheat producers in Washington state who sell the products to two types of customers: households with demand this thing and firms with demand this. The cooperative operates as a monopolist in the area and its cost function is this. There is no possibility of arbitrage between the two groups. Part B is first degree price discrimination. Assume now that the cooperative can practice first degree price discrimination. Find the optimal output levels and prices for each group of customers. Okay. So for a first degree price discrimination, what do we look at? P is equal to MC, right? For a linear, this is for a linear demand curve. Okay, so here we can see that this is going to be a linear demand curve. So this is suppose for households. Okay, demand curve is Q1 is equal to 100 minus 3P1. And C given is 1300 plus 4Q. Okay, so MC1 is going to be 4. So P1 is equal to 100 minus Q1 by 3. Okay, so P is equal to MC for a linear demand curve, right? So P1 is equal to MC1. So what do? We get 100 minus Q1 by 3 is equal to 4. Q1 is equal to 100 minus 12, which is 88. Okay, and P1 is going to be equal to 4. Okay. Okay, now for the firms. For the firms, the demand curve is Q2 is equal to 100 minus P2 by 2. MC2 is again equal to 4. So again, P2 is equal to MC2. 100 minus, okay, let's convert it first. It's going to be 200 minus 2Q. 2 is equal to 4. 2Q2 is equal to 196. Q2 is also equal to 88. Sorry, 98. It's going to be 98, yeah, and P2 is equal to 4 here. So these are the optimal output levels and prices for each group of customers. So this is the optimal level of Q1. This is the optimal level of Q2. P1 and P2 will actually, so P1, this would be incomplete here. P1 can be anywhere between 100 by 3 to 4, or rather opposite, 4 to 100 by 3. And P2, again, this would be incomplete to write. This we can write P2 will belong anywhere from 4 to 200. Okay, because 200 is the maximum point on the demand curve, right? The highest point on the demand curve. Similarly, for P1 also, 100 by 3 is the maximum point on the demand curve. Okay, so that is your first degree price discrimination. Now we go to second degree price discrimination. Okay, so also known as non-linear pricing or block pricing. Okay, the first degree price discrimination was perfect price discrimination. The second degree price discrimination is also known as non-linear pricing or block pricing. Now, this strategy involves offering quantity discounts to customers who purchase in bulk. The monopolist sets schedules where the price per unit decreases as more units are bought, right? Usually, this thing, real life example would be when we go to a wholesale market, right? So bulk is wholesale. So mechanism, the firm maximizes profit by choosing the size of the first block and the second block, which would be Q2 minus Q1. Q2 minus Q1 would be the extra, right? The additional and their respective prices. So profit maximization problem is what? You maximize the profit given Q1, Q2. This is equal to P1, Q1, right? This is the revenue from the first block. Okay, so first block revenue. This P2 into Q2 minus Q1. Q2 minus Q1 is the additional that you are buying. Okay, so this is from the second block revenue. And TC minus Q2, that is your entire cost. Okay, so key finding, the price of the first block is always higher than the price of the subsequent block, allowing the firm to capture more surplus than uniform pricing, but less than perfect price discrimination. Okay, so the second degree price discrimination will capture a lesser profit compared to the first degree price discrimination. And why is the price of the first block always higher? Because suppose अगर ये first block है, first block and then the second block. So this is P1 and this is P2. Okay, P1 will be greater than P2 because once the customers know कि okay, अगर मैं थोड़ा और ले लूंगी तो I will be charged a lower price. Okay, so this is just so that the consumers, they have the incentive to go towards this P2 to buy more, right? Okay, इसके diagram देखते हैं. So this is how the diagram works. Okay. The diagram illustrates the demand curve with two price steps. Okay, so यहाँ पे we are doing it with two prices. Okay, two step pricing. Usually 3 भी हो सकते हैं, 4 भी हो सकते हैं, right? So high price P1 applies to the first Q1 units, right? So this is P1, this is Q1. Okay, so this orange block is the total revenue that you get by selling Q1 at P1. Okay, and a lower price P2. This is P2, and this is Q2, right? You can see यहाँ पे ऐसे P2 है. This applies to the units between Q1 and Q2. Okay, so this is the extra that the person is getting, right? So this was from the profit maximization. We have P1, Q1 plus P2, Q2 minus Q1, right? So this is that entire, that extra, this green is this extra thing here. Okay, minus TC of Q2, because finally Q2 is the total amount that is being bought, right? So which is why it's only Q2. Okay, so this captures the segments of the consumer surplus that uniform pricing would miss. Okay, so now let's go to a relevant exercise. Question number 11 from the back questions. Some local water companies offer a discount to customers who use large quantities of water. Consider a local water utility that faces the inverse demand, which is PQ is equal to 100 minus 10Q. If the water utility has a marginal cost of 0.5 per unit water, MC is 0.5. Find the price and quantity the water utility sells if it practices price discrimination with two blocks, Q1 and Q2 minus Q1. Okay, तो यहाँ पे first let's form the water utilities profit maximization problem. ठीक है, so you maximize profit. This should be equal to, so 100 minus 10 Q1 into Q1, okay, plus 100 minus 10 Q2, because it's the price for the second one. So second one into the additional, so Q2 minus Q1 minus 0.5 Q2. Okay, so basically let me write it here. So this is P1, this is P2, and this is that extra, right? Okay. So now we differentiate with respect to Q1. Okay, so del by del Q1, what will we get? We get 100 minus 20 Q1 minus 100 minus 10 Q2. Okay, so from here we get minus 20 Q1 plus 10 Q2, which should be equal to 0. Okay, so यहाँ से हमें मिलता है Q1 is equal to Q2 by 2. ठीक है? Okay, now we differentiate the above profit with respect to Q2. Okay, so what will we get? We get del by del Q2 is equal to 100 minus 20 Q2 plus 10 Q1 minus 0.5, and this should be equal to 0, right? This is the FOC. So यहाँ से If we insert Q1 is equal to Q2 by 2 into this one, what do we get? We will get 100 minus 20 Q2 plus 10 Q2 by 2 minus 0.5 is equal to 0. और यहाँ पे 100 कर देते हैं, okay, is equal to 0. So this becomes 20 Q2 minus 10 or rather minus 5 Q2 is equal to 99.5. Okay, so Q2 is equal to 99.5 by 15, which is roughly 6.63 units. Okay, now we can find Q1 by putting the value of Q2 in this. Okay, so अगर डालेंगे हमें मिलता है 6.63 by 2, which is 3.32 units approximately. ठीक है, so the water utility will sell 3.32 units in each block since Q1 is equal to 3.32 units in the first block, and Q2 minus Q1 is 6.63 minus, so Q2 minus Q1 is 6.63 minus 3.32, which is 3.32 only. Okay, so 3.32 in the second block. Okay, and now we have to calculate the prices charged. So let's erase from here. Okay, तो यहाँ से हमें क्या मिलेगा? P1 is equal to 100 minus 10 Q1. So Q1 was what? 100 minus 10 into 3.32. So this becomes 66.8 dollars यहाँ पे कर देते हैं. And in the second block, P2 would be 100 minus 10 into 6.63, which is equal to 33.7. Okay, so now from here you can see that in the first block, जो P1 charge होगा, that is higher compared to the second block का price. Okay, in fact that is half almost. Okay, so total profit क्या होगा? Total profit, if you just put in the values, you get 66.8 into 3.32 plus 33.7 into 3.32 minus 0.5 into 6.63. This is roughly equal to $330.35. Okay, तो second block pricing equations ऐसे solve होता है. Okay, now we talk about third degree price discrimination. तो इसे लाते हैं. Okay, so now this occurs when a firm charges different prices to different groups of customers based on observable characteristics such as age or student status. Okay, for example, two different markets also, in two different markets also, the monopolist can charge different prices, right? जैसे यहाँ पे, okay, requirement is the firm must be able to screen the customers, checking IDs to prevent arbitrage, low price groups recently selling to high price groups, right? So यहाँ पे कुछ screen करना पड़ेगा. Now, rule for maximization is the monopolist treats each group as a separate market and equates the marginal revenue of each group to the common marginal cost. So यहाँ पे we have the condition MR1 is equal to MR2 is equal to MC. Okay, तो हमें बस इसे अप्लाई करना है in each market. Okay, elasticity link, the group with more inelastic demand is charged a higher price. This is but obvious, right? ये हमने Lerner index में भी हमने पढ़ा हुआ है, right? And ये तो basic like logic है कि more inelastic demand will get a higher price, right? Because आपका total revenue जो होगा, suppose this is equal to P into Q, right? And आपका अगर inelastic demand है, okay, more inelastic demand would mean what? That percentage change in quantity is going to be less than the percentage change in price, right? तभी आपका elasticity is less than 1. Okay, so इसका मतलब क्या है कि price अगर थोड़ा सा भी increase हो रहा है, okay, ऐसे quantity is only falling by a smaller amount, okay, by a smaller proportion, right? So overall the increase in the price will outweigh the decrease in the quantity. Okay, so this also goes up. So a monopolist or anyone can increase their profits अगर inelastic demand है and अगर वो price increase करे. Okay, so the group with the more inelastic demand is charged a higher price. Okay, so now let's solve a question from the back questions. This is the relevant exercise. Question number 4. A local car wash faces two types of customers. Older, more traditional customers who like their cars to sparkle all the time with demand this, and the younger generation who do not care as much about having a clean car with demand this. Each car costs $2 to wash and the fixed cost of the car wash are $50. Find the price and the number of cars washed to each group if the car wash were to price discriminate. What is their total profit? Okay. So suppose this is the first older customer group. इसमें क्या है? आपका demand is Q1 is equal to 75 minus 2P1. Okay, so P1 is going to be 75 minus Q1 by 2, and MC is equal to 2 per car. FC is 50, right? So total cost is what? 50 plus 2Q, right? And no arbitrage means third degree price discrimination is possible. Okay, so we have to set different prices in each market. Okay, तो यहाँ से हमें inverse demand function मिल गया है, and now what we have to do is total revenue function. So R1 में क्या होगा? It will be P1 Q1. So this is the total revenue function. This is going to be 75 minus Q1 by 2 into Q1. Okay, and MR1 will become 37.5 minus Q1. ठीक है? Now similarly for the group 2, for the second group, also we can figure this out for group 2. The demand function was, the inverse demand function will be 6.25. So P2 is equal to 6.25 minus 0.25 Q2. So total revenue function will become 6.25 minus 0.25 Q2 into Q2. And MR2 will become 6.25 minus 0.5 Q2. So we have both our MRs. Okay. Now MC is equal to 2. So we just set it. So MR1 is equal to MC. So 37.5 minus Q1 is equal to 2. So Q1 is equal to 35.5. And यहाँ पे 6.25 minus 0.5 Q2 is equal to 2. So Q2 by 2 is going to be 4.25. So Q2 is going to be 4.25 into 2. Okay. So this is going to be 8.5. Right? Now, यहाँ पे basically we have to calculate the number of cars, right? So cars, they can't be decimals, they have to be integers. But यहाँ पे let's keep it exact, okay? You can, and you can't round it up, okay? 35.5 को आप 36 नहीं बना सकते because फिर 36 cars अगर नहीं होंगे तो, so you have to always round it down, ठीक है? तो यहाँ पे मैं exact रख रही हूँ, ठीक है? तो let's calculate the P1 and P2 also in each group क्या होगा? So P1 is going to be what? 37.5 minus 0.5, right, into 35.5. Okay, so this will become 19.75, and P2 will become what? 6.25 minus 0.25 into 8.5, and this becomes 4.125. Okay, तो अब हमें total output and profit भी calculate करना है, तो उसके लिए let's erase a couple of things here. Okay. So Q, which is Q1 plus Q2, that is going to be what? 35.5 plus 8.5, and this is equal to 44. So this is my total output. Okay. And total and आपका profit is going to be what? So you just calculate the revenue from here. So R1 is going to be 701.125. R2 is going to be 35.0625, right? So total cost भी हम calculate कर सकते हैं. C is going to be 50 plus 2Q. So this is going to be 50 plus 88. So 138. So our profit is going to be R1 plus R2 minus C. So it becomes 736.1875 minus 138, which is equal to 598.1875. So this is your final profit. Okay. So I hope आप लोग को third degree price discrimination के questions कैसे solve करने होते हैं. I hope आपको समझ आ गया. Okay. अब कहते हैं the last topic in price discrimination. This is not a price discrimination per se, but ये भी एक type है, okay, different form, okay. So this is called bundling, okay. Bundling is the practice of selling two or more products together as a single package, okay. So there can be no bundling also, जिसमें कोई bundling नहीं है, आपको सब कुछ different चीजें एक साथ लेनी है. तो जब भी आप bundling के बारे में सोचोगे, think about computer, okay. So computer में क्या होता है? एक monitor होता है, एक mouse होता है, keyboard होता है, राइट. हार्ड ड्राइव अगर अगर वो लोग देते हैं, सीपीयू होता है, राइट. सो दिस इंटायर थिंग इज अ कंप्यूटर. ओके. सो प्योर बंडलिंग में क्या होगा? कस्टमर्स कैन ओनली बाय द पैकेज एंड नॉट इंडिविजुअल आइटम्स. ठीक है. मिक्स्ड बंडलिंग में क्या होगा? कस्टमर्स कैन बाय द इंडिविजुअल आइटम्स और द पैकेज व्हिच इज यूजुअली एट अ डिस्काउंट. ओके. एंड देयर इज समथिंग आल्सो कॉल्ड नो बंडलिंग, जिसमें आपको सब कुछ इंडिविजुअली लेना पड़ेगा. इफ यू वांट अ मॉनिटर, उसका अलग से प्राइस होगा, माउस का अलग से प्राइस होगा, समथिंग लाइक दैट. ओके. सो नो बंडलिंग बिकॉज इट इज ऑब्वियस. आई हैवंट मेंशन्ड इट हियर, बट यू हैव नो बंडलिंग, प्योर बंडलिंग एंड मिक्स्ड बंडलिंग. नाउ व्हेन इट वर्क्स, bundling is the most profitable when consumers' willingness to pay is negatively correlated. Okay. For example, if customer A values a CPU highly but a monitor lowly, and customer B values the monitor highly but the CPU lowly, a bundle allows the firm to capture more total surplus than selling them separately. Okay. तो इसका जो mathematical condition है, that is, bundling entices both consumers if the profit from the bundle exceeds the combined profit of selling items separately. Okay. So तभी bundling makes sense. Okay. So let's do an example. Okay. हम एक exercise करते हैं, वहां से आपको ज्यादा समझ आएगा. So this is the question number 15. इसके questions नीचे है. A fast food restaurant faces two types of consumers and is deciding on a bundling strategy. The table here reports each consumer's willingness to pay for hamburgers, French fries, and the bundle of both items, as well as the average cost of each quote. Okay, so you have hamburger, French fries, both items as a bundle, and you have the average cost. Okay, now what are they asking? So what prices should the restaurant set for each food item? If it sells the item separately, what is its profit? Okay, so first we have to talk about the separate scenario. Okay, separately you have to calculate the price and the profit. Okay, this is part A. Then part B is what prices should the restaurant set if it sells the bundle? Okay, so bundle में क्या price होना चाहिए? Okay, and how do your answers change if the restaurant's cost of beef increases so that the marginal cost increases to 4? Okay, तो C में MC is equal to 4, and what is now part A and what is part B? ये हमने लिख दिया यहाँ पे, and we can go back to the table to be able to solve this question. Okay. ठीक है. Okay, so now step 1, first we have to decide the price for hamburger. Okay, पहले हम hamburger का price decide कर रहे हैं. तो if यहाँ पे अगर PH is equal to 3, okay, both will buy, right? Let me write it here. Okay, अगर price of hamburger is equal to 3, ठीक है, then both will buy, right? So both buy, and the profit per hamburger will be what? It will be 3 minus 2 into 2. Okay, so this is the profit. Okay, if PH is equal to 5, okay, only consumer 2 is buying, right? So only consumer 2 buys. तो उसका profit क्या होगा? 5 minus 2 into 1, which is equal to 3, right? And this is the profit. Okay, so the owner, he is getting a higher profit when PH is equal to 5. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे PH is supposed to be equal to 5. ठीक है, okay, let's talk about French fries. ठीक है, अगर PF मैं 2.5 में करती हूँ, then again both will buy, right? So profit per fries would be what? 2.5 into 2, sorry, minus 2 into 2. Okay, so this is equal to 1. Okay, and this is the profit. Agar PF is equal to 4, only consumer 1 will buy, right? And this becomes what? 4 minus 2 into 1, and this becomes 2. Right? So again, यहाँ पे भी अगर आप French fries का higher price रखते हो, तो then you're getting a higher profit. Okay? So if you sell separately, ठीक है, आपका profit क्या होगा? 3 plus 2. So यहाँ पे PF is going to be 4 and your profit is going to be 5. Okay? This was part A. Part B में क्या है? We have to find out the bundling price, right? So bundle में willingness to pay for consumer 1 is 7, right? And the willingness to pay for the second consumer is 7.5, right? Now what is the cost of the bundle? Cost of the bundle is equal to 4. ठीक है, तो अब अगर हम price of the bundle अगर हम 7 रखेंगे, both will buy. Okay, तो हमारा profit क्या होगा? It will be 7 minus 4 into 2. Okay, so this becomes 6. अब अगर हम price of the bundle हम रखते हैं 7.5, only consumer 2 will buy, 2 buys, right? And हमारा profit क्या होगा? It will be 7.5 minus 4, which is 3.5. Okay, so you will get a better profit, which is 6 when your price of the bundle is 7. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे हम कर देते हैं the price of the bundle is equal to 7. Okay, and your profit would be 6. Okay. Now in part C में क्या हो रहा है कि marginal cost is now 4. Okay, so separate selling में क्या होगा? अगर price is equal to 3, both will buy. It will be 3 minus 4. Okay, so this becomes 4, and ये minus में जा रहा है, and this becomes a loss. Okay, अगर price is equal to 5 of a hamburger, consumer 2 will buy. Profit क्या होगा? 5 minus 4, and this becomes 1. So you get a profit. Okay, so he will choose PH is equal to 5. Okay, fries का भी same as before. This is 2.5, so this becomes minus 4. This becomes a loss. So 1 second. Okay, this will remain the same. This will remain same as before because only the marginal cost of hamburgers is changing. So this will remain the same, and your answer will remain the same. ठीक है? So यहाँ पे what you'll get is PF is equal to 4. Okay, and आपका separate profit में आपको क्या मिलेगा? Profit में you'll get profit is equal to 1 plus 2, which is 3. Okay, so this is the answer to part C का part A. Okay, अब bundling में क्या होगा? Now the cost of bundle जो पहले 4 था, ठीक है, now it has become 6. Okay, so this becomes 6. So now this becomes 6 here. अगर price 7 रखते हैं, it becomes 7 minus 6 into 2, which becomes 2 itself. And यहाँ पे 7.5 minus 6 करोगे, you get a 1.5. Okay, तो यहाँ पे भी better would be PB is equal to 7 because the firm is earning a higher profit with PB is equal to 7, right? The profit is equal to 2. ओके, सो यहाँ पे आई होप आप लोग को समझ आ गया है कि बंडलिंग के क्वेश्चंस कैसे करने होते हैं. ओके, यहाँ पे ऐसा कुछ फॉर्म नहीं है. ओके, तो बेसिक लॉजिक लगा लगा के वी हैव टू फिनिश दिस. ठीक है, सो दैट वाज इट. हमने मोनोपोली खत्म कर दिया है कंबाइंड विद द प्रीवियस वीडियोस एंड आज का वीडियो. मोनोपोली विद प्राइस डिस्क्रिमिनेशन इज डन. आई विल सी यू गाइस इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास.